And think we're
Hello.
live. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching, and thanks for all your feedback. So I'm Teresa,
I'm Liz.
and we are still gonna die
Yeah.
mad. Nothing changed our minds this week.
Getting closer all the time.
I mean, I guess this week was, well, I don't know how to characterize this week.
I don't know. I mean, it's that continuing feeling of what is happening with, the war
Yeah,
is so major and feels
yes,
so consequential,
yeah.
and yet things are weirdly normal. I think that there's something to
Maybe
be
there's something familiar to us about this situation.
yes,
We've been here
exactly.
before.
Exactly. And you just wonder, and I wonder about it in myself too, I mean, I'm making plans to travel next month and
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep on
Keep
making
on
my
keeping
plans
on. Right.
because, what are you supposed to do? Like, where's the off ramp for horrible and crazy? We just have to exist in it and feel some kind of, I guess, guilt and discomfort. But
Yeah,
also,
there's that quote that's flying around that the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. And I feel like people are starting to shift into that gear of
mm,
just we must endure. We don't
yeah.
have a lot of choice in the matter. Um,
No, no.
Bless you.
And it just, yeah, no, I mean, it just seems so horrific. Like what is happening in the Middle East seems so horrific day by day. I mean, I was just seeing, they're bombing Beirut,
Yes,
killing, uh, university professors,
yes,
deans
I
of
saw that.
universities.
It's unspeakable.
It's who knows the level of devastation at this point that has been wreaked upon people. And then we're sitting here, in the safe zone, waiting for the what do they call it? The second order effects to come.
Yes.
It's I don't know. He's
It's really he's he's
because there's a main character. There's definitely a main character in all of this. Several main
a main
characters.
character who has the most dire case of main character syndrome I've ever seen. Enabled by 90% of legacy media.
Yes.
Um,
Oh my God.
but yeah, and I've started to feel really, oh, we touched upon this a little bit last time, that sort of this, it feels perverse to have any kind of hopes attached to this situation. Um, and it feels really kind of gross to be sort of, ooh, he's gonna get his comeuppance now. This is gonna bite him. This is gonna be the wall that he runs into. Gravity will find. Um, First of all, we don't know if that's true. And this week did make me a little more pessimistic on that score because it feels like, um, you know, as we discussed last week, the American people are against the war pretty solidly, although maybe not quite as in quite the numbers that I would like to see and that
Mm.
we heard being tossed around. But it looks like in some polls it's closer to 50-50. I mean, the majority is still against, but depending what question is asked, if you ask about sending troops on the ground, the numbers are pretty radical. It's about 75%
Yeah.
against sending troops in. Um, but even if this is his comeuppance, it's a very, very steep price
Yeah, and I mean, it's, war has its own logic, I think, as we said
Yes,
from the beginning. And so you get pulled into something. I do not think ultimately, whatever horrible things happened under Obama's foreign policy, I do not believe that he became president to do those things.
right.
He was pulled into these things, not that he doesn't have agency, but he was pulled into a logic of security that takes over security, that takes over. So whatever is being unleashed right now, it's very, very bad for uh the world. It's just,
For
I
the
mean,
world.
for the world,
Right.
it's
Absolutely.
it's just bad.
It's
It's not,
destabilizing.
it's destabilizing. It's going to lead to a less a more violent and less healthy planet in every way. So I don't know. To me it seems like probably it I felt the consequential nature of the beginning of the Iraq War. It's like really I so that period
Mhm.
is just so vivid in my memory. And at the time, it felt, I remember the day, I remember what I was doing. It felt
Yeah.
so consequential. And everything about this just feels so casual, so thoughtless. Um, no,
Reckless.
it's really horrific. And so trying to make sense of things in this noise and in this, these people that treat um, everything with such a low level of seriousness, or who just have ideologies that you can't relate to in any way and believe in same things.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that the natural thing to feel is just exhaustion. It's very
Yes. And I think a
exhausting.
lot of people are feeling exactly
Yes.
that. Yeah.
It's not an energizing fight. It's a really it wears you down. But yeah, no, I don't think he's getting any closer to um winning over voters, you know.
No, I mean, I was just going to say the fact that it's not an energizing, like that in a sane world and in the world that we've known heretofore, that would be his loss because it certainly seems he was trying to rally everyone around the flag, and that's not really happening. That's not working. Um, it doesn't. I can't see any reason why this war would become more popular
No.
over time. It's starting out weak and it will likely get weaker. But again, that's very cold comfort. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like something that either you want to bet the farm on or really celebrate in any way because it's terrible.
It's just terrible. And I want to ask you because you had mentioned this before that there are Democrats somehow who seem to be supportive, at least of funding the war. I mean,
Yeah.
besides Fetterman, who we know, I don't know, he's on his own.
Is he even a
I
Democrat at this
don't know
point?
what his thing is, but
Mhm.
uh, the because I have not been following this as close. Have you been following the conversation around the funding? I mean, I know none of the people, none of the Democrats I like are on board, and I've seen, great quotes from Chris Murphy. I think especially
Yeah.
Chris Murphy has been doing really good sound bites, and there's some leadership from that direction when it comes to this. But I want to hear what you have been, what you've been reading on that and what your view on that is.
I mean, I don't think I'm that up on it either, but I saw at the beginning of the week, I think, the leadership in the House, so Hakeem Jeffries, not willing to rule out uh, voting for more funding. And I do think the funding, to now turn into a little bit realpolitik, calculating mode, I do think that people are angry about the money that's being spent. I mean,
Yeah.
billions and billions just up literally in smoke.
Mm,
Um, People don't like that. That's not a
no.
winning message. And It boggles the mind that Democrats don't just see an incredible opportunity here to finally get on the same page and all sing from the same choir book, which is no
No.
more money for this stupid, reckless, illegal war.
Yes.
That's what they should all be saying.
It needs to end
Um,
now.
it needs to end yesterday. It's that, and sure, they can talk if they want because they love to talk about process. They can talk about the fact that they weren't asked, but that's not the lead. Okay,
No.
guys,
No.
let's talk about other aspects than the technical legality. Let's talk about the immorality of this
Hmm.
war. Let's talk about
Hmm.
the fact that it's just plain wrong on every
Hmm.
conceivable level. It makes no sense. It doesn't do anyone any good. Why should we support it? There,
No.
it seems so easy. It seems like a layup. And so the only other one that's coming to mind is Alyssa Slotkin from
Mm.
Michigan. But also, actually, no, my own senator, Tammy Duckworth, has also been, the sort of usual suspects who just think
Hmm.
they hear military and they're like, I have to get on board because this is my role in the Democratic Party to be the pro military wing. Well, as Chris Murphy rightly said, you're not supporting the military by supporting this war. That's not
Mm.
what you're doing.
No.
Um, I just don't know how many times we have to go through this sort of, it seems like a cycle at this point before they get the message. But I know that then, I'm not sure if you listened to this as well. Pod Save the World this week, Ben Rhodes went on a little bit of a rant,
Oh,
which
I
I
haven't had
personally
time.
love to hear. When
Oh,
he gets worked up, he really
yeah.
gets mad, and he drew a line in the sand and
Yeah.
said, I am going to say right now, if you are a Democrat and you are supporting this war and or supporting more money for this war, I will not support you. I will support your primary challenger.
Hmm.
Primary them all.
Hmm.
That's the message. I think it's very clear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from every level, I mean, it's what I believe, what I support, what I think
Yeah.
is right, but also tactically, we're not going to win over any voters trying to split the difference on
No.
this one.
No, and the strange thing about this whole like, well, they didn't ask me is it's like this is an ongoing problem with the Democrats that it's me, it's my turn. It's
Yes.
oh, I'm 85 years old and I have to run again because Jim
Clyburn.
Clyburn, Jim Clyburn I'm the only one who can serve. Like, it's a very like a narcissistic view of their own power, not something that they, hold in trust,
Mm-hmm.
but something that they're owed because of something. And I think people sense this in a lot of Democrats. And I
Absolutely.
it's done nothing but harm to our party, nothing but harm. And maybe Republicans have it too, whatever. But it has been so
Yes, but it's more on
harmful.
brand. It's more on brand for the Republicans. I mean,
Yes.
I certainly don't like it either.
No.
But it's not my party. This is our party, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mesh with what they say are their
No.
values. So on top of it being terrible, it's also hypocritical. Um, Very, very, as you say, I think it makes young people just run screaming in the other direction. They
And
want nothing to do with this gerontocracy.
no, nothing. And I think that it's so harmful, the signals that it sends that, just to be that ridiculously old. I'm sorry. And just also, what was he doing up there, like in Illinois, campaigning for, um, basically the spoiler candidate in the Senate. I mean, it's just like I'm like, what are what are you holding on to, sir? What are all of you holding on to? Well, it's power. Of course, it's just power. It's very hard to have people let go of power. And they care about it more than they care about their party or their people, their country. Like it's just, um, but they must tell themselves, like, I'm the only one. I'm the only
That's
one.
what I was just going to say. They must tell themselves that. So there's sort of a, obviously it's ego, definitely,
Yeah.
but it's also kind of a noblesse oblige. Like
Mhm.
I must, it's a kind of martyrdom, falling on their sword a little bit. Like, oh, I know I'm old, but I just have to push myself because I'm the only one who can do this. Um, and that's a huge problem for the Democratic brand as well, because there's this, we've talked about it before, this kind of condescension. Um, no one, if they really believed in something like democracy, they would, as you say, hold the power in trust and be perfectly comfortable passing it along, be able to sleep at night knowing it's in good hands with the next generation. That should not be a problem if they believe what they preach.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a real, and then just the imagery, as you say, just sort of the visual and the of these older people who clearly aren't in their prime,
Yeah.
um, telling everyone they're the only ones that can solve this problem. When they also, not to be forgotten, they haven't solved the problem
No,
that
that's the
they've
thing.
been in office trying
Not
to
anywhere even
tackle
close.
for
We live in the
decades.
ruins of
We
them
live in the
trying to
ruins,
stop, supposedly.
right?
Oh
So
my
then
God.
that, on top of that comes then this, um, the other problem the Democratic brand has, besides looking weak and ineffectual, is just representing the status quo. And I think we can safely say that no one really on either side of the aisle is happy right
No,
now with the
no.
with the direction the country is going. So if you are in the opposition party, you would think you'd be particularly motivated to
Oh,
hand it
and
off.
again, and I don't, the thing is, I'm not sure because I know that you and I pay hyper attention to things that are going on. But
We're political junkies.
yes, we're political junkies. But this whole thing that there are still senators Democratic senators that are voting for these nominees that Trump puts forward, for various different.
For the NSA, there was a vote, and
Yes.
Slotkin was on that list. She voted for it. I mean,
I'm like,
what are you thinking?
they don't need to take those
Those,
votes.
no, they do
Why?
not.
Why
No,
are
they
they
do
doing
not.
it? And I just think that it's like it is slowly erodes trust, things like that. And we're so deep into, years of lost trust with these
Yes.
people. And I think it was a major betrayal that they made promises. I understand that Biden never said the words that he would only be there one term, but there were people running around on news shows giving that impression in order to give people permission to vote for him. People then voted for him, and he took back that promise. And I'm just like, or whether what implied promise.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, I just think, um, I don't think we've taken seriously how deep the betrayals have been and how often and how, and I guess there are some Democrats that they just don't care. They love these people. They're gonna buy their books and whatever, but I do not think it's a very, I don't think it's a very big,
And
uh,
even if that's true, I mean, clearly it's not big enough to win federal elections.
no.
And we need more people. We need a bigger tent. But
Yes.
yeah, I think Ben Rhodes in his rant also mentioned the big tent, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm all for a big tent. You can have a different idea of how we can get universal health care, but
Yeah.
you can't question the concept." And same thing with this. This is a red
Yeah.
line. It should be yay litmus tests. Let's have
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
Mm, all right. Well, maybe we should drill down a little to some of the primaries that are happening.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think this month it's only Illinois, which
Hmm.
is next week on St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be a big day in Chicago. The river's going to be green, and people are going to be going to the polls. Um, so, what are the elections? Are you watching any of the elections
I mean,
there?
the one that I have sort of paid the most attention to is the one with Daniel Biss and Kat
That's
Abu.
Illinois 9.
Yes, uh, and what's her name? The other one, the
Kat
basically the APAC.
Abu Ghaz
Well,
Abu
Abu.
Ghazala, I
Yeah,
think.
and then the third woman who is being funded by APAC.
Fine, I
Yes,
think.
fine.
Hmm.
But I did see numbers that there were four races in Illinois that, and not including that race,
Hmm.
that APAC had spent $15 million dollars on. It's like unprecedented. And so there is
That's a
just
lot.
on those races, just on those races. So there is like some really unprecedented money being poured into the primaries in Illinois. And I have, seen some people who are based in Illinois talking about it sort of like, well, this is really the test to see, I mean, it is
Do we know
there.
where that money is going? What are they doing with it? Are
Well,
these
there are these
TV
different,
ads?
they have, no, they have different, I'm not totally sure what all they're spending it on,
Hmm.
but there are these different super PACs that have names that, so it's not direct, it doesn't
Hmm.
say, and some of it is very similar to what happened in New Jersey that, they're arguing that someone is too far to the right, that they actually are against. And I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans going on. But no, I don't really know. I mean, is it mailers? Is it
I
like,
mean, one of the reasons I ask is, this happened with the Wisconsin elections that Elon Musk, poured a crap ton of money into it, and he still lost. So, I mean,
yeah,
contrary to popular belief, I mean, I'm all for repealing Citizens United. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
money isn't everything. And
No, no, but it's a little bit like what happened in North Carolina, where,
mhm,
she pulled it out by 1,000 votes, this Fouché, and then APAC, who vowed that they weren't, supporting her, all of a sudden put out an ad like, "We won," So I do think that, the problem is that even a very narrow victory is an
yeah,
absolute victory. So if they can use their
winner take
money just
all,
to tip the ball over the edge, um, then that's going to be a very big win for them. But they're not going to win them all. I don't, no way.
right?
Um, it's going to be very interesting with the Senate as well, because that's not just APAC money. That's like AI money, and that guy Raja's. Have you been following the Senate race there? That's a
A
very,
little bit, yeah.
yeah. And so that one really seems it's just, Illinois, a lot of shenanigans going on. I guess it's always been that way. But your mom, she votes in Chicago, and
Mhm.
do you know who her rep is? Is there some kind of primary in her? Um,
Yeah, Illinois 7 is also having an election because Danny Davis, who was in there for a gazillion years, is finally retiring. So there's a pretty competitive election
mm,
there. Um, I mean that there and Illinois 9, obviously they will be Democrats for sure. So the
yeah,
Democrat,
of
yeah.
course.
Um, Yeah, and Illinois 9 is where I used to live. That's where I lived when I went to graduate school. But I mean, this was so long ago that even though Jan Schakowsky was in there forever, this was before her. And that guy was also in there for decades and decades. So it's a big shift. So what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on Illinois 9? Because that's the one you're watching.
I I I have this cat
Hmm. Well,
um
just call her Cat.
cat has totally
First name
grown on
basis.
me. Yeah, she's
Okay.
really grown on me. I kind of at first I thought, oh, she seems like not very serious. It I did, but now I feel like who's
She was
serious?
an influencer, right?
Yeah,
She's like
who's
26
serious
years old.
in this w world? And the more I listen to her and the more I see her operate, the more I'm like, oh, she's really grown on me. And like, why not? Why not put in this Gen Z podcaster? She seems to speak her mind.
Mhm.
She's pissed off the far left a little bit, being pro-Ukraine. I that
I respect that.
I respect that. She's very strongly anti-ICE. She's had her, she's been like prosecuted by them.
Yeah, she's been arrested.
She,
Hmm.
really has been involved in those protests. Um, and she feels the way that I do about Gaza and wars in the Middle East and
Yes.
all of that. So, and I'm not, it's not clear to me, even though Daniel Biss would, I don't think it would be the end of the world if he won at all. I don't think
He
he's,
seems like a very decent guy.
he's,
He was the
yes.
mayor of Evanston,
Yeah,
right?
he seems
Hmm.
like a decent guy. I don't think it would be horrible, but at all in any way.
Hmm.
But I would like people who are willing to get in there and say free Palestine. I
Hmm.
think it's time. Like we have to um we have to be able to speak more freely on the relationship between the United States and Israel, or I don't know how we're gonna get out of this. So, you know,
Mm.
so to me, I want those that's who I want to win in these primaries. And APAC makes it easy because they support the worst people. So it's like they always find,
Hmm.
kind of
So
like
it's
Haley
not like
Stevens.
we're conflicted
Exactly.
about,
Because
oh,
I
I
saw an
would, but
article.
they're.
I saw an article, for example, about like why have they completely abandoned liberal Zionists like Daniel Biss?
Hmm.
And they just won't even have anything to do with them,
Hmm.
and they're going after them.
That
Same with
almost makes me want to
others.
support him. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of like I get that it's sort of um they are like they almost give some cred to liberal Zionists just by always going for like,
Uh-huh.
the
Judge
most
me by my
hard
enemies.
line supporter
Hmm.
of the Netanyahu government. Like that's what they want. They don't want, somebody wanting to go back in time to, whatever. So that,
There's
yeah,
no middle ground.
there's
It's
no
become
middle ground. There's no middle
polarized,
ground.
as we say.
Yes, polarized and I think just, all of this like money in general, whether it's in support of Israel or whether it's in support of tech or whatever, there has just been elite capture by fascism
Really.
in
Yes.
all different
Yes.
directions. All
Yes.
different directions. So they make it very, all masks are off on all those different, you know, billionaire um yeah, influencers or whatever you want to say.
Absolutely.
So I think that yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. I would really like APAC to set a lot of money on fire in Illinois and
That would
not
be
walk
nice.
away with anything very similar to what happened in Wisconsin, as you
Yeah,
said.
that would be great. Let's
Yeah.
hope for that.
Yeah.
Um, any other upcoming primaries that you're watching right now?
Um, what else is coming up soon? I mean, there's the ongoing fights online about Graham Plattner, which I think have just kind of switched
That's not till
over.
June, right? That
Yeah,
when
oh
they
my God, I wish it was sooner because it's just
it's
really
getting
switched
tiresome.
over. I
Hmm.
mean, I saw now, there was some fight going on Twitter with like Ro Khanna sticking up for Graham Plattner and just getting it's gone to one of those places where things can go where it's just very divorced from reality. And it just I just wish that that was coming sooner because people are getting very online about the whole thing in ways that I don't think are helpful for winning in Maine. And I mean, that's the point here. The point is to win. And, if, um, I like his politics better than I like, Mills. So of course I would probably
And
vote
he's
for him.
polling better than Mills,
And
is he
he's
not?
polling better both head to head with Collins and got a pretty impressive lead on Mills. And then what I have read is just that he has really built a really good campaign that is also like doing a lot of other things besides
Yes.
just his Senate run.
He's doing good
Um,
old-fashioned
yes,
organizing.
yes. So there's that one, but I'm trying to think what other primaries are there coming up. I mean, it's not feeling totally it's not feeling totally Dem Tea Party as we all
Yes,
hoped
I
it
was
would.
just going to say, I think we had slightly higher hopes for the
Yes,
primary season.
yes,
And I guess we'll have to wait a little to get the necessary distance to see why that is.
yeah.
But um, the other big topic around the elections is, are we going to have them in the form
Oh,
to which
yes,
we
that's
have
the
been
elephant
accustomed?
in the room.
That's, yes, literally. Um, I mean, the latest I've seen, unless you've seen different, I don't think the SAVE Act is going to pass in the Senate. I don't think they're going to get rid of the filibuster. Should we maybe just walk people through that, what the filibuster is? I mean, I
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, it's my great enemy.
hmm,
But basically, this act, which would do, I mean, I think irreparable harm to definitely this upcoming election. I mean, would be complete and utter chaos. I don't know how we could have
I think chaos
fair
is the key
elections.
term. I think it's the
And
key
then
term. I
from
mean, there
there,
are
it,
terrible provisions in the act, but the main effect would be just to throw it into utter chaos. That
yes,
local uh, election officials would no longer know what to do,
no,
and we can be almost certain that many thousands of Americans would be disenfranchised
yes,
one way or the other, be it
yes.
through the provisions or simply through the
Yes.
chaos itself.
I
Yeah,
mean, tens, hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's hard to say
probably.
how much.
It's hard to say how
Yeah,
deep the damage would
it
go.
would be very consequential. And so
And the SAVE Act, as I like to call it, the Save Trump's Ass Act,
yeah,
because that's exactly what it is.
so yeah, the same trip. So I mean, I know that um traditionally and for a very, very long time, the filibuster has primarily been used to protect. Basically, it goes all the way back to the Confederate States. It was used to protect slavery in all sorts of different ways from the beginning of its history. It's just one of those little minoritarian tricks in the American system that keeps that is purely conservative. And sometimes a conservative thing can be good if you're
It's a
conserving
break. It's
something
a
good.
right. You're slowing things
But
down.
exactly. But unfortunately, like most conservative things in the American system have been by and large bad. So I don't think that I would say, 90% of what the filibuster has protected over the years has been quite bad things. So as you know, I've been willing to let go of it for if it's some kind of poison pill coming from the Republicans, like, I was like, okay, we'll just take this poison pill and then because then it makes it possible for Democrats to make change later. Because I believe, as
Right.
you know, that the reason that Before Biden lost a lot of trust by supporting the Gaza genocide, and before he lost trust for deciding to run again. He lost trust because when women lost uh, Roe v. Wade,
Yes.
the Democrats did not move. They had a
When
trifecta.
the country lost Roe v. Wade
When the
because
country
it
lost Roe
affects
v. Wade,
everyone. Hmm.
uh, the Democrats had a trifecta, and they did not do anything to address it because certain people in the party, some who put their names on it and some who didn't, wanted to hold on to the filibuster. And the argument at that time is that you'll be happy to have that filibuster when the time comes and blah blah. So you've seen, Kristen Sinema come out and be like, "I told you so," and now I saw Manchin. Well, so what's
Oh,
happening?
don't you even dare.
Yes.
Be because
So
obviously the just to point out the obvious flaw in that argument, um, if we'd been able to do things,
yeah,
then perhaps we wouldn't be in this situation now of
exactly.
having a Republican Senate. But just to remind everyone what the filibuster is, because I mean, it's kind of one of those words that it does kind of sound like what it is. It's just like, stuffing a sock in the process and making it all come to a screeching halt. But so basically, it's a technicality in that it's not about the vote on the measure, it's about whether to stop debate and
Yeah,
take the vote on the measure. And in order to do that, you need 60 votes rather than a simple majority,
exactly.
right? And there are some things in the Senate that can be passed with simple majority, like budget and I believe a lot of military and
Mm.
things like that. But um, for anything real, anything new, right? As you say, it's a
Well, and
conservative
the
tool.
carve outs that they put in were
Mm-hmm.
things that were important to the Republicans so
Correct.
far.
All the carve outs
So,
are important to
with
the
the
Republicans.
having to do with the Supreme Court. Well, though I will say the the Democrats did start some of the courts
Right.
carve
Supreme Court
outs.
nominations
But
are
the
exempt, and
Republicans,
all confirmation votes
yeah,
are exempt from the filibuster. Um, but of course, the flaw in my argument is, that if we had been able to do things, then perhaps we would be more popular and wouldn't have lost all these elections. Is that it's the Supreme Court itself,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
fact that Trump was so successful in stacking it. Um, and that makes one wonder. So, our first problem is, are we going to have elections
Mm.
such that represent the will of the people, more or less? And then the next problem is, if we do, and if we I think we agree that if we do have them, the Democrats will win decisively. Maybe not enough to hold this to get the Senate, but certainly to take the House. Um, will they be able to do anything? Will we be able to do anything?
Yeah,
That's the next fight.
yeah. But to go back to the SAVE Act, and again with these primaries, it's this runoff in Texas that they're really using as a pressure point on this SAVE Act because Trump wants to have the SAVE Act really, really badly. And so he's using Cornyn and Paxton to really push
Yes.
their fighting. And so this was why I saw Joe Manchin putting some whiny long tweet about, well, Cornyn told me you're gonna miss it if you get rid of Bo and like basically calling Cornyn a hypocrite. And it's like, oh, you think? You think Mr. Evil is a hypocrite? Of course, that's the least of his problems. Of course, he's a hypocrite, just like you are, Mr. Evil like.
Uh, you're a hypocrite and a sucker,
Yes,
apparently.
and a sucker, such suckers. So I don't know if they can push enough people because I do think that the Republicans understand that the filibuster has been good for them.
Has
There's no
saved their
way
ass many
if it
times.
wasn't, if it's been better for them than it has been for us, and they have been willing now and then to take the hit. And I also think that it is not really popular. I think that they also understand that there would be a great amount of chaos
Well,
if
that's what I was
it
just going
does
to say.
go.
It wouldn't be
Um,
popular, and they don't have enough of a cushion right now to take
yeah,
it because Trump is not popular, and they
yeah,
know it would be seen as caving to Trump, rightly, because that's what it would
yeah,
be. And that's not gonna
no,
play well, really, anywhere. So that's
yeah.
why I'm also fairly confident they won't do it. Um, if they did, that would really be bad. I don't really.
Yeah, it would really be bad. And I think I mean, it's hard not to feel a little bit, um, it would be like it would have catastrophic kinds of overtones. I don't know. I mean, I do think that who knows, maybe the Democrat, but then we would be fighting because I think that Trump really doesn't care if they win those midterms at all. And this is why he's fighting so hard for the SAVE Act. But he thinks that that's going to help with the presidential next time, which I truly believe he's quite sure that he's running in again. And he thinks he's going to, I don't know, convince somehow the Supreme Court to have him on the ballot. I really believe that this is what he thinks.
Oh,
Um,
I
and
absolutely believe that that's what he thinks. Yes.
And so I think that that's why this is so important to him because he just doesn't care he doesn't care about passing anything. I mean, and he does,
No, he certainly doesn't care about passing anything, and of course he's threatened us all with a good time and said he won't sign any new legislation if they don't repeal the filibuster and pass his Save My Ass Act. Um, but I don't
uh,
think sure, let's have it. Don't
yeah,
please
go
don't
for
sign
it.
any new legislation until the midterm.
Don't sign
But
it
or ever, please.
ever.
But lose your auto pen. But
You're ugly. I don't want to see that ugly ass say this years ever again.
but I do think he cares about the midterms actually. Not for any good reason or any, you know, not for passing legislation. Because clearly he's cut Congress out of the process. And this is the only time he's ever even really conceded that he needs
Yeah,
Congress. Um, but I think he is afraid of impeachment. I mean, frankly,
yeah. Well, you're right.
I'm not
And
quite sure
yeah,
why, because it's not like the Democrats are going around threatening it as much as I would like them to. I would like them to run on it. I would like them to promise to
yeah,
hold this administration's feet to the fire, and impeach, and keep impeaching.
yeah.
There's so much work to do in that area. Um, so I mean, the only reason is that he knows that he's done a lot of criming. And
Yeah, I think you're right that and they would have more access to more. I mean, he's trying to cover up who knows how many things, how many different
well, I'm sure they would
schemes
release the rest
that
of
they are
the
running.
Epstein files,
Yeah, well, yeah, the rest of the Epstein files would come
as
out.
if we need any more documentation of his
Yeah,
crimes. But I mean, sure, certainly, let's
yeah,
have them. They belong to us.
yes,
I want to see them.
yes.
Um, but I just,
No, you're correct.
this is just one of those. Sure, and you're right. There are probably other secrets that he's
Well,
sitting
and you
on,
can
and
see it in, I mean, there's so many things going on with like, you know, bets being placed on national security decisions. And I mean, there's just so much,
oh,
like,
that is one of the most disgusting and corrupt things that I have ever seen.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It literally
So,
it turns my stomach. It turns that
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's truly like the level of you know, corruption is really beyond
and depravity, really,
yeah,
just
corruption, depravity, horrible, horrible things happening.
right.
So of course
So
having
he doesn't want even a glimmer of accountability,
no,
even the tiniest bit of
no,
oversight, the tiniest bit of sunlight is not
no,
something that he can withstand.
no.
Um, and then, as you say, he's looking past this to the presidential.
Yeah.
He wants to control the elections. That's it. He just wants to control everything.
He doesn't want democracy. Has never been very interested in he doesn't like democracy. I mean, we all knew this a long time ago, and I don't know why
No,
we
I mean, I know, frankly, that's not something that he made any. pretense
No,
about.
no. All you had to do was listen to him. All you had to do was listen.
I mean, I would go even further. I would say he actually sold a lot of people on being anti-democracy, that it's really not a very good system, it's inefficient, and it wasn't that hard to sell.
No,
Um,
I mean, he's convinced me.
he's good. He's good.
You know,
Look, it
like
was.
you're a good argument for that, Mr. Trump. But yeah, I don't know. I think that, I hope that we can, I hope that there is just a deeply conservative side of American governance that hopefully we can, hold off this SAVE Act. But it does just really feel like I was telling my mom, I was like, well, it's kind of like I think there's maybe only like a 20% chance that they're going to pass it, but it's like when you're driving down the side of a mountain, a 20% chance that you're going to end up in the ravine is like that doesn't feel
Still
very
a
good.
little high. Only,
It's a
oh,
little
there's
high.
only one bullet in the chamber. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Yes. Yeah, so
No
it's like
problem.
I do think that like conventional wisdom will probably hold that these Senate Republicans do not go nuclear on the filibuster, but we'll
So
see.
gaming it out further, let's go with the worst case scenario for a second, even though we think it's unlikely that they do pass the SAFE Act, that they throw it all into chaos. Then I don't think we're talking anymore about um, needing the Democratic Party writ large, or the National Party to be the one to fight the next fight that will ensue. Then we're really talking about state by state,
Yeah.
each state. And honestly, I kind of think that's where this is going anyway. With or without the SAVE Act, I think the midterms are going to bring that to. I mean, we've already seen it because Trump has made what I think was very foolish as well as evil and reckless and all sorts of other things. But to sort of, I mean, he has been declaring war on blue states, picking
Yeah.
them off, trying to pick them off one by one.
Yeah.
And um, that did not go well for him. And if he continues down that path, I think that states will get even more, will dig in and will fight him harder. And
Yeah.
again, and I think
I mean,
that is a hopeful thing that I'd say. I mean,
yeah.
elections,
I've said it many times. My dad was an election official, and I mean, he ran the local elections, and I've always felt like, well, they have those, they have their little fiefdoms, those
yeah,
um, local election officials, and they're very, this is the rules. But that's why I fear the SAVE Act so much, because if they're thrown into a place where they don't understand the rules, that's when things get really, really bad. And
100% agree.
and
But I think
so
it will be so bad that um, that they will actually at some point have to resort to a form of civil disobedience, where they're
well,
going to
and I
have
mean,
to say
really, in a way,
we
that
can't follow this law.
this was tested in 2020 in a way too. I mean, it really did
Yes,
so much of that.
yes.
I mean, we talk a lot about January 6th, but there was this other attempt at the coup through the electors. And um, they really tried a lot of things. But I mean, I think that they've learned from their mistakes. And this
Unfortunately,
has been
yes.
this has been a long-term obsession. So I don't know, but also do think that there are people on our side as well that are very obsessed. One thing you got to say about, the Democratic grassroots, it's obsessed with elections and rules. And I do think, um, there are, I don't think we're helpless against, let's say even they do pass it. We have a lot of nerds who are going
Yes, we
to
do. We are the
work
nerd
very hard
army. Hmm.
to make sure that our side can get the necessary documentation, and their side can't, you know?
Yes, I think that's an important point, and others have made it that that's a further reason why it would be very stupid of the Republicans. It would be a real self-own to pass it because their voters are likely to be hurt even
Yeah.
more Um,
Now, I think maybe in Texas it would be very bad for us, but
mhm,
in some other places, I don't think it would hurt us in, you know, Maine or Ohio.
right.
Um, but I also did see that, oh, what's her noodle up in Alaska? Oh, I cannot stand her.
Mary Peltola or
No, 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 no. The
oh,
actual sitting independent Republican woman.
Lisa Murkowski?
Yeah, Lisa Murkowski. She
Hmm.
came out and said that that the SAVE Act would disenfranchise a lot of her voters.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes
So
she speaks the truth.
sometimes she speaks the truth. So, you know, I don't know, maybe some of these states that have a more complicated situation are looking and saying, ah, I don't think I can really,
I think they are, but
uh,
um, I think they are, and so we're gonna we don't bet on outcomes unlike some other people. But if I were to put my money where my mouth, I'm gonna go with the SAFE Act is not going to pass.
yeah.
But I still think that we are on a kind of collision course with
Mm,
federalism. I do think that the states are going to be more and more challenged, and we're going to see how and whether they rise to that challenge.
yeah.
I'll shout out a post I saw today from Ryan something. I can't remember his last name right now, but he's with Just Security, and he put out a piece about how New York State can go after um, Epstein um, people,
Mm,
and it was very thorough and like a very systematic. And this is the kind of thing I want to see. I want to see states doing what the federal government is refusing to
yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
I hope that that happens. And
Yeah.
the other thing, when we're on the subject of elections and states running them and so on, we'll repeat our encouragement to people who are stateside to sign up to be a poll worker, because a
Yes.
lot of
Mm,
people who used to do that work for us are bowing out there for a lot of good reasons. I think they used to be a lot of retirees or
yeah.
older folks, and a lot of them had to sort of sit it out during COVID. And guess what? It didn't really seem like a super attractive job to return to. So, maybe some younger
Yeah.
people step up and do that
Yeah.
work because it's
Yeah.
so, so, so important.
So important.
So
Yeah.
important. All right. Should we
Yeah.
leave it there for
I think
today?
so. That's a good ending.
Good place to stop. All right.
Hey, bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.